The race to be Singapore's next president heats up just before cooling off day kicks in at midnight. And the day after, the country will go to the polls. Now, on the show tonight, we'll bring you some of the key messages from hopefuls on the final day of campaigning. These include building on family values, stronger and deeper solidarity, as well as bringing all under one unified Singapore society. But first, the three candidates and their presidential candidate broadcast messages.
Presidential candidate Kin Lian says if elected, he will continue to uphold important family values. He says he aims to use a soft influence and the prestige of the president's office to make life better for Singaporeans. He also pledges to work together with the government. Speaking in a presidential candidate broadcast message, Mr. Tan also apologised for comments that he previously made on social media.
75-year-old Kin Lian says the president must put the needs of the country and its people first. Besides safeguarding the country's reserves and upholding the integrity of the public service, he says the role required an understanding of the people's needs. Mr. Tan believes he has the necessary experience and knowledge to manage Singapore's reserves, citing his 30-year tenure as the Chief Executive Officer of NTUC Income. He adds that a president must not be afraid to exercise independent thinking or stand for what is right.
Throughout my life, I have had to stand alone through many difficult times. When many investors lost their savings by investing in bad financial products in the past, I was not afraid to stand up on their behalf, to ask questions. It takes courage, tenacity, and resilience to ask these difficult questions.
Mr. Tan says his humble upbringing gave him a deep appreciation of the difficulties people go through, and he keeps to a simple lifestyle.
I am grateful for a loving wife, 3 adult children, and 5 adorable grandchildren. It is wonderful to have a family where the members take care of each other over the years. I will continue to uphold important family values as this is the cornerstone of any society.
Mr. Tan also apologized to those who were offended by his previous social media posts.
As an active and outgoing person, I like to share about my daily activities and observations of everyday life. I have never meant any disrespect to the people I encounter. To all those who have found any of what I have said or done in the past upsetting or inappropriate, I would like to sincerely apologize for it. I will be more mindful of what I say in the future.
He also spoke about the encounters during his walkabouts. Many members of the public shared with him their difficulties caused by the recent rise in the cost of living.
I will act independently of the government and do my best to convey the views of the people to the government and help the government to find out ways to make life better for the people. I am aware that the President does not have the executive authority on these matters. However, I believe it is possible to achieve these goals by using the soft influence and prestige of the President's office. I hope to work in collaboration with the government to achieve our common goals for the benefit of Singapore.
In closing, Mr. Tan says he wants to champion the well-being of Singaporeans to make life better for everyone.
A strong bond with the ground and a track record of connecting with people from all walks of life. That's among the three key traits presidential candidate Tharman Shanmugaratnam says makes him stand out from other candidates in this election. In his second presidential candidate broadcast message today, he also highlights his international standing and understanding of how to safeguard the country's reserves. Richa Matthew reports.
A familiar face to all, former Senior Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam says his goal, if elected as president, is to build a future of stability and deeper solidarity among Singaporeans. To do that, the 66-year-old says he brings to the table 3 key traits, what he terms as unique from his opponents. First, his international standing.
I will bring to the presidency my international standing. I am the first Asian to have chaired the International Monetary Fund's key policy advisory committee. I have led high-level councils of the United Nations, the G20, and other global bodies on a wide range of areas: international economic, financial, human development, environmental, and pandemic challenges in recent years. I have also built up strong relations with senior figures among our partners in Asia, the West, and the developing world.
And when it comes to the duties and responsibilities of the president, Mr. Tharman says he has the breadth of understanding that is unmatched by the other candidates. Be it safeguarding Singapore's reserves or ensuring the integrity of the public service, his experience in the government has helped him understand the system inside out.
The president's most fundamental role when holding the second key to the reserves is quite different. It is to ensure that the spending policies of the government and various other public agencies do not lead to the nation's reserves being misused. This concerns the Ministry of Finance and Government rather than the GIC.
But what is a president without his people? And for the former Member of Parliament of Jurong GRC, connecting with people has always been close to his heart.
I come with a record of connecting with people from all backgrounds in Jurong. That speaks for itself. I have also spent many years supporting NGOs nationally. If I'm fortunate enough to be elected president, I will be active in mobilizing support for ground-up initiatives to uplift every group with a disadvantage, those facing challenges in mental well-being, and everyone who needs a second or a third chance. I will encourage and foster deeper interactions between our different faiths and cultures so as to deepen our multicultural identity. And I will continue to bridge the diverse views that are natural in our democracy. There is always common ground to be found.
Summing up his speech, he says Singapore's most precious asset is its unity and solidarity among its people.
We must deepen that solidarity in the years to come. It requires deepening respect for all, regardless of backgrounds or educational achievements. Respect for all. It is at the heart of our future as Singaporeans, and why our brightest years are ahead of us.
He calls for Singaporeans to support him and his dream of building a more inclusive and fair society for all.
Presidential candidate Ng Kok Song says it's an urgent matter to have a non-partisan president not beholden to political parties. The former GIC Chief Investment Officer again presented himself as the only candidate in this election who has never belonged to any party. Geraldine Yap with more.
Non-partisanship is a theme that has featured strongly in Mr. Ng Kok Song's campaign. He says all the elected presidents since 1993 have been affiliated to or endorsed by the People's Action Party. And in this election, one candidate has opposition figures in his campaign, while the other resigned from government a month ago.
Can we take the risk of having another government-endorsed president checking government requests to draw down our reserves? Is it appropriate for an ex-finance minister who set fiscal policies to then move across the table and become the president and check on the very policies that he had put in place? I do not believe any person should be put in such a position of conflict. And we don't need to.
Mr. Ng says this also goes against the spirit of the Constitution, which requires candidates to not belong to any political party.
Our system has complied with the letter, but not the spirit of the Constitution. Our system allowed past political leaders to stand for election merely months after resigning from their political party. We are now in 2023. This is not 1993. I strongly believe that the time has come in this presidential election to uphold the spirit of the Constitution.
As Singapore makes the transition to a new leadership team, Mr. Ng says the risks will increase and there will be more reasons and crises to draw heavily on the reserves.
Politics in Singapore today has become highly contestable. Having the wrong team in charge in the near future is no longer a remote possibility. Our government leadership will also undergo a generational change in the next few years. There are uncertainties and risks with all transitions. The recent controversies discussed in Parliament imply that we cannot take for granted the exceptionally high standards of incorruptibility and integrity of good government. In the face of such increasing risks, we cannot afford to have a president who may be beholden to political parties who endorse their nominations and help get them elected.
Mr. Ng says he's offering himself as a change, a president who is not connected to any party.
It is time we break from the past of having a president endorsed by the PAP. The elected presidency is an office that must belong to all Singaporeans, not to any privileged group, organization, or party.